Camp John Hay is a 250-hectare economic zone located in Baguio City at 5,400 feet above sea level at the southern tip of the majestic Cordillera Mountains. Baguio is one of the most beautiful cities in the Philippines, with a rich history, amazing architecture, and at the center of it, a magnificent pine forest jealously protected by the citizens of Baguio, Camp John Hay. Camp John Hay is not only a famous recreation and tourism zone, but is also the main watershed of the city and has a forested area of 250 hectares, giving clean air to the city. In December 2010, Rocky Mountain signed an agroforestry management agreement to develop a 60-hectare Arabica coffee plantation inside the lower canopy of the Camp John Hay pine forest. To protect this majestic forest, Rocky Mountain conducted a series of activities to eliminate or mitigate possible negative impacts of the project and prepared an environment management plan. As priority was given to the pine trees, pine roots, pine seedlings, and protecting rare species, eco-trails, and buffer zones, only 62,000 trees were actually planted. That's 62% of the original area. In order to minimize stress on the soil and reduce the need for fertilizers, Rocky Mountain implemented a 2 by 3 meters planting distance instead of the standard 2 by 2 meters. Rocky Mountain hired a botanist to identify rare species to be protected and trained its farmers so they could easily recognize and protect exotic plants. Rocky Mountain also hired a biologist to accompany farmers while conducting clearing activities and monitor them closely to make sure that rare species are indeed protected. In order to not be an additional burden on the limited water sources of Baguio City, Rocky Mountain agreed to only use rainwater and build its own rainwater catchment system to water its trees. Rocky Mountain also installed a drip irrigation system that uses 10 times less water than traditional sprinklers. To protect the health of the citizens of Baguio, Rocky Mountain only uses organic fertilizer and agrees not to use any chemical products in its operations. Overall, the planting of coffee trees in the lower canopy of the pine forest not only allowed the use of idle land to turn it into economically productive assets and the creation of hundreds of jobs for the citizens of Baguio, but more importantly, it increased the density of the lower canopy, increased water absorption by the aquifer, reduced soil erosion and flash floods, decreased risks of forest fires, improved carbon absorption and air quality, and it increased the presence of flora and fauna. All of this was achieved by planting 62,000 coffee trees without cutting down a single pine tree. Camp John Hay is the origin of the John Hay coffee, a unique blend of Arabica typica, Bourbon, and San Ramon, uniquely grown under the pine trees in Camp John Hay with a fantastic taste, aroma, and flavor. Camp John Hay is a perfect example of an environmentally friendly project managed by an environmentally responsible company and monitored by a professional monitoring team. Come to Baguio City and visit the Camp John Hay Arabica coffee plantation and see for yourself how Rocky Mountain produces coffee in a responsible manner while protecting and improving the environment for future generations.